So today let us go to some points to know some points of Vishnu Digambar Paluskar. This Vishnu Digambar Paluskar, he belongs to 1872 to 1931 period. Pandit Vishnu Digambar Paluskar, he was a Hindustani musician and he has contributed a lot of services to Hindustani music field in his lifetime. And you can see the picture of Pandit Paluskar. Sri Vishnu Digambar Paluskar, he sang original version of Raghupati Raghava Rajaram, the popular bhajan we are singing even today. Famous tune of this bhajan Raghupati Raghava Rajaram. This is a very popular bhajan which will be singing in a lot of concerts and many programs by North India and even South Indian musicians all over India. And this was sung by Vishnu Digambar Paluskar for the first time in those days. And he was the first person to sing the original version of this bhajan. And Vishnu Digambar Paluskar, he was the person who tuned to Vande Mataram. That is also a very popular song. And in ancient times, concerts were presented in palaces and courts. That is particularly if we go to Hindustani music, whereas in South India, the musicians and composers and musicologists and the performers, they used to perform this Carnatic music in South Indian temples and in the courts of Maharajas who were patronizing this music. And whereas in Hindustani also, many Mughal emperors, they used to patronize this Hindustani music in their courts and they used to appoint many musicians into their courts. In the same way, in the ancient times, the Hindustani music concerts were also used to presented only in the palaces in front of Mughal emperors and many more Maharajas and kings. In their courts, they used to regularly perform the music, but the Vishnu Digambar Paluskar, he changed this era of the tradition and he gave a public concerts with a nominal charge in the first time in Saurashtra district of North India. And he strongly believed that the normal people and the common people, they should know the Hindustani, and this is possible only with the public performances by the performers in the public places. So he was the first person to change the tradition of this performing presentation in palaces courts, and he shifted this tradition to give a public concert with a nominal charge in the Saurashtra district. And mainly Paluskar founded Gandharva Mahavidyalaya at Lahore in 1901 period. This Gandharva Mahavidyalaya included all kinds of courses in the university, and according to that period, this Gandharva Mahavidyalaya was only the Hindustani music university popularized all over India. Many performers, learners, beginners and many musicians used to go to this university to learn music, and laterly it developed into many courses. This Gandharva Mahavidyalaya till now it is establishing, and Sangeeta Visharada, Sangeeta Acharya and many more courses have been introduced to learn for the beginners, and till now it is continuing this project. And this credit goes to Vishnu Digambar Paluskar because he was the first person who founded Gandharva Mahavidyalaya. And mainly in those times, this Gandharva Mahavidyalaya was open to all. First institution to run on public support and donations, because those days he was not having any money with him. So he used to go to public to collect some funds for the institution purpose and also some donations to build the university and also a hostel. So he have given many public performances to promote this university, and also he took many of loans and also built a new building and hostels for the institution. So we can remember him that Vishnu Digambar Paluskar, he have contributed his services towards Hindustani music by constructing a Gandharva Mahavidyalaya in North India and also attaching to hostels for the institution. And now let us move to composers of Hindustani music. As a part of this, one more composer, and they are both composers called Sadrang and Adarang. These are the two musicians belonging to the period 1670 to 1748 period. Mainly Sadrang, he was a Hindustani music composer. He has composed a lot of Hindustani items which we are singing till now. And Sadrang was not his original name, it was only his pen name. He used to use this pen name Sadrang, and his original name is Niyamat Khan. And Adarang, the another composer of Hindustani music, Adarang was original name, and also he has one more name, Firoz Khan. This Adarang was mainly nephew of Sadrang. These Sadrang and Adarang, these both composers used to sing more khayal singing in those period in the Mughal courts, and they are also very popular to renowned for their Jugalbandis in khayal singing. In those days, the Jugalbandis were introduced only by Sadrang and Adarang, because before that only single person used to Hindustani music presentation, that is Tansen and many more. If we observe in Akbar's courts and Mughal emperor's courts, only single persons used to perform their Panditya in the courts of Mughal emperors. But in the period of Sadrang and Adarang, these both used to pioneers of khayal and renowned for these Jugalbandis in khayal singing. Mainly after Dhrupad style, the khayal, this singing was introduced, and laterly it was very popularized by making Jugalbandis by this Adarang and Sadrang, because they were both involved into the Hindustani music, and they developed Jugalbandi style with their singing in the khayal singing format. And Sadrang was a main court musician of Mughal emperor. He is Muhammad Shah. These Sadrang and Adarang, they have popularized khayal singing format in the Hindustani music. So till now you have learnt some particulars about composers of North India, that is Sadrang, Adarang, and many more composers. As a part of this music and music education, creative aspects of Hindustani music. Indian music is based on raga and melody, whereas Western music based on fusions and counter swaras. As India is a combination of many ragas and also containing melody in the raga format. There are 72 main ragas in Carnatic music style in South India and 10 Thaats, that is 10 musical ragas in Hindustani music. Raga is based on ascending and descending format of swaras. If we enter into raga, to identify a raga, there is a particular scheme called 𝗂𝗽𝗱𝗁 and 72 Melakarta ragas. These raga based on ascending and descending format of swaras. If we want to understanding this point of raga, to decide a raga, you have to first know what are the swaras containing to know the raga, and mainly a raga is derived from its Melakarta. If it is a Janya raga, if it is a small raga or Janya raga, it will take birth from a Melakarta, that is main raga of the main 72 ragas in South India. So raga we have to decide only by its ascending and descending order of the swaras containing in the particular raga. So ascending order in Carnatic style is called as Arohana, and descending order in Carnatic style is called as Avarohana. In the same way in Hindustani music. In Hindustani music also there are some swaras to identify some ragas. The first time Bhatkande, the composer, he modified Hindustani music and created this Thaat system. There were many ragas in South India, but in Hindustani also there were few ragas, but Bhatkande, he came to South India and he learnt a lot of Carnatic music styles and he adopted these Lakshana Geethas. Lakshana Geethas means the Geethas which project their raga bhava and also the swaras within it, the lyrics also containing the swaras containing into the Geeta. So this format of Lakshana Geethas, Ghanaraga Geethas, this Bhatkande, he has improvised it and he implemented into the Hindustani music format. He came to South India and he stayed many times in the Hyderabad, even Hyderabad and many parts of Telangana and Andhra. He studied all the parts of Carnatic style and also he studied the books Sangeeta Ratnakara, Sangeeta Makaranda and Venkatamukhi's books and many authors' books written in South India. that were studied by Bhatkande. In those days he came here in South India and he learnt all the forms of South Indian classical music, and he adopted many South Indian ragas and also South Indian compositions into the Hindustani music. And even Bhatkande, before that also there were many ragas in Hindustani music established for the concert format, but mainly Bhatkande he modified many ragas and he gave a particular format of Thaat system. Thaat system means it containing 10 main ragas which are called as the Thaat system ragas. He divided 10 main raga system of Hindustani music, that is called Thaat system. So now entering into the creative aspects of Hindustani music, we have to know what are the Thaat system, that is 10 ragas of Hindustani music. What are the 10 ragas of Hindustani music? Let us know some ragas names similar in North India and also South India. In North India, the Hindustani raga, the first point created by Bhatkande was the raga Bilawal. In South India, it is known as 𝗳𝗏 and it is a 29th Melakarta of 72 Melakarta ragas of South India. That is Bilawal raga in Hindustani, and in South India it is called as 𝗳𝗏. Now let us move to the 10 ragas of Hindustani music Thaat system. Now let us enter into the second number of this Thaat system, that is Purvi. The second number of these 10 ragas of Thaat system is called as Purvi raga. In South India, the Purvi raga is named as Pantvarali raga. Pantvarali is also a main Melakarta raga in South Indian 72 Melakarta ragas, and this is the Purvi raga in Hindustani, and in Carnatic style it is called as Pantvarali. And now let us move to the third raga of this Thaat system, that is called Kafi or Kapi. It is known as two main ragas, and it is in South India it is called as 𝗂𝗽𝗱. 𝗂𝗽𝗱 is also a main Melakarta of the 72 main ragas in Carnatic style, and in Hindustani it is called as Kapi, and in South India this Kapi ragam is known as 𝗂𝗽𝗱 raga in Melakarta raga. And the fourth main ragas of Hindustani music, the fourth number comes for Bhairavi raga. Bhairav. The rag Bhairav in Hindustani is known as Hanumatodi in South Indian music tradition. The Hanumatodi is also a very main raga, main Shuddha Madhyama raga in Carnatic style of singing, that is 72 Melakarta ragas. The Hanumatodi is also a main Melakarta raga in South India, and in Hindustani raga it is called as rag Bhairav. And now let us move to one more raga of this Thaat system, main raga. In North India the raga is known as Kalyan, and in South Indian Carnatic style the raga is Kalyani. The Kalyani is a very popular raga in Pratimadhyama raga, one of the Pratimadhyama raga in Carnatic music styles tradition, and many compositions are there in Kalyani raga. Mainly in Hindustani also we can observe a lot of tunes, lot of ghazals, khayals, dhrupads, and also many music film songs are also tuned in Kalyani raga. So in North India the rag Kalyani is the main raga of this Thaat system, and in South India it is known as Kalyani raga. And now as a part of creative aspects of Hindustani music, the another raga coming into the Hindustani music is the rag Khamas, that is Khamaj or Khamas. It is known as both names, and in South Indian traditional music the rag Khamaj is known as 𝗳𝗏𝗺𝗁 raga. There are a lot of Tyagaraja Kritis and many composers of music have tuned this 𝗳𝗏𝗺𝗁 raga in Carnatic style, and there are lot of compositions in Hindustani music also in the rag Khamas. So in North India it is known as Khamas, and in South India the rag Khamas is renowned as 𝗳𝗏𝗺𝗁 raga. And now moving to the next raga of this Hindustani music Thaat system, the raga name is Asaveri raga. The Asaveri raga is a very popularly known as in North India, and also in South India it is known as Natabhairavi raga. The South Indian tradition, Natabhairavi raga has a many Janya ragas put into that raga. the Bhairavi and many more ragas, popularly ragas, Janya ragas, they are derived from the Natabhairavi raga of South India. And this Natabhairavi raga is a very main raga of this Melakarta raga, 72 Melakarta ragas. So in North India the rag is known as Asaveri, whereas in South India this Asaveri rag is known as Natabhairavi. And now let us moving to the another raga of these 10 ragas of Hindustani music thought system. The rag is Rag Marwa. The Rag Marwa in South India it is known as Gamanashrama. This Gamanashrama is a very popular raga in South India, but we can observe only few compositions in this Gamanashrama. Only latest composers, latest Vagayakaras have composed this Gamanashrama raga compositions. For instance, the Sangeeta Vidwan late Sri 𝗂𝗽𝗍𝗺 garu, he has composed a very rare kirtana in this Gamanashrama raga. I just want to introduce that Pallavi to all. Ni Gamanashramayani 𝗬𝗍𝗺𝗀, Ni Gamanashramayani 𝗬𝗍𝗺𝗀, Ni Gamanamu Sugamamu Cheyubaya. This is a Pallavi of this Gamanashrama raga in South India. So this was only an example for the Gamanashrama. In Hindustani this Gamanashrama is known as Rag Marwa. And now let us enter into the another raga of this thought system, that is Rag Bhairavi. Bhairavi is a very popularly known raga in Hindustani music, and there are lot of compositions composed by the music composers. In South India, this Bhairavi raga is known as 𝗧𝗦𝗔𝗧 𝗚 raga. I think you all must be knowing this 𝗧𝗦𝗔𝗧 raga because all the basics of Carnatic music has been tuned into this 𝗧𝗦𝗔𝗧 raga. And mainly the Hindustani composer Bhatkande, he mainly translated these ragas, mainly 𝗧𝗦𝗔𝗧. He has studied a lot of points about this, all the basics of 𝗧𝗦𝗔𝗧 raga, and he wanted to adopt this raga in Hindustani, and he named this 𝗧𝗦𝗔𝗧 raga as Bhairavi raga in Hindustani music thought system. And now let us move to the last number of raga in the thought system of Hindustani, and the raga name is Rag Todi in Hindustani music, and it is very popularly known as Shubhapantuvarali in South India. We have many Muthuswami Dikshitar Kritis and Shyama Shastri, and laterly very renowned musicians, they have composed their own compositions in this Shubhapantuvarali raga. It is a very rare raga, and it is symbolized for sympathy tunings and also devotional musics and the mood of sadness. So this Shubhapantuvarali raga in Hindustani, it is known as Rag Todi. So till now you have known some particulars about creative aspects of Hindustani music. In that you have completed the chapter of 10 ragas of Hindustani music, that is thought system. Another point of creative aspects of Hindustani music, that is the compositions which are set to raga in particular time measure, that is called thala. So if we want to know some key points about what is raga and thala, in the whole world the raga means the combination of swaras, either it is Western in Hindustani or in Carnatic style. The raga is formed according to the ascending and descending order of the swaras and the combinations and the changes of swaras, that all brings to the formation of raga. So if you take for instance any composition, it is set to raga and thala. Now let us enter into the another point of this music, that is creativity in music. The creativity in music involves the full emotional commitment and the involvement and also improvement of artists, because the musicians have to involve their minds and soul into the commitment of this music, and also involvement of their shruti paripakvata, we called it as paripakvata in shruti and thala, that all comes with the involvement and commitment of the artist into the music, and also he or she has to improve their creativity in music. And mainly creativity in Hindustani music started with the 𝗧𝗦𝗔𝗧 style in the ancient times. 𝗧𝗦𝗔𝗧 style was introduced by many composers, and 𝗧𝗦𝗔𝗧 style is a kind of rare tala composition. It is not normal composition, it is very panditya. It includes a very panditya scholarly singing of 𝗧𝗦𝗔𝗧 style, was very well known as 𝗧𝗦𝗔𝗧 style, and it was accepted by many Mughal emperors in their courts, musicians. And this 𝗧𝗦𝗔𝗧 style in Hindustani music included very long alaps, because before presenting this 𝗧𝗦𝗔𝗧 sahitya or lyrics, we have to present a very long alap before singing the lyrics. So, the 𝗧𝗦𝗔𝗧 style include very long alaps before the singing of lyrics, and this gave leading to khyal singing. Before khyal singing, there was a very popularly composition that was 𝗧𝗦𝗔𝗧, and after the 𝗧𝗦𝗔𝗧, the khyal singing was came into existence, and this khyal was composed in various tempos in tala, because 𝗧𝗦𝗔𝗧 style is very constitutive and it is strict to very scholarly composition, but whereas khyal was composed in various tempos, that is various speeds. It was increasing by one speed in its composition tala, and 𝗧𝗦𝗔𝗧s, dhamars, khyals, these kind of compositions were rarely introduced, and they were underly scholarly compositions. They were known as scholarly compositions, because in the creative aspects of Hindustani music, the scholarly compositions divisions contains 𝗧𝗦𝗔𝗧s, dhamars, khyals. These kind of singing are very well known as scholarly compositions, because they include the kinds of alap, swara kalpana in different speeds, and also in different talas and in different ragas. And there are many more aspects of creativity in Hindustani music. Till now you have known scholarly compositions of Hindustani music, and now let us move to the lighter forms of Hindustani music. The lighter forms include ghazals, geets, and Rabindra Sangeet. Even Rabindra Sangeet by Rabindranath Tagore, it also comes under the Hindustani music. In some period, the Urdu ghazals, all the ghazals are written in Urdu and Persian style and Arabic style, and some geets in Hindi, and also Bengali music, that is Rabindra Sangeet. These three forms of lighter forms of Hindustani were influenced by Hindustani musicians, and in many concerts Hindustani musicians used to present their ghazals, geet and Rabindra Sangeet, all these lighter forms they adopted into the concert style, and they have presented in the ending part of the concert. For example, Ganga Sindhu Narmada, this is an example of Rabindra Sangeet. And along with ancient musics, some more instruments also as adopted into Hindustani music as a modern creativity of Hindustani music. For example, in those days, in the olden days, they used to Rudraveena. Rudraveena was an instrument. Rudraveena also known as 𝗂𝗽𝗱𝗁 in Carnatic music style, and they adopted this Rudraveena into modern instruments. And also later period we got some instruments like sarod, santur. Sarod is a string instrument, santur, even sitar. These three are stringed instruments, you know very well about this. And these all sarod, santur, sitar, they all used to played through different gharanas. We have many gharanas in Hindustani music tradition, and sarod, sitar, sarangi, these are the stringed instruments, and tabla is a percussion accompanying instrument, and all other modern instruments are also promoted in Mughals period. In Mughals period, Tansen and other music composers used to present their music by using this sarod, sitar, sarangi along with tabla for the percussion, and they used to present ghazals and all Hindustani music forms, 𝗧𝗦𝗔𝗧s, khyals in the courts of Mughals. And all these music forms, that is lighter and Hindustani music, all the forms of Hindustani music, and also the instruments were promoted in the period of Mughals period. And moving to the same continuation point of these creative aspects of Hindustani music, one more point you have to know is Western instruments. That is, the musicians of Hindustani music not only accepted and adapted these modern sarod, sitar, all instruments, but also the influence of Western music also influenced the Hindustani music. For instance, if you take a Hawaiian guitar, it is a stringed instrument and very popular in Western music, and this Western music instrument Hawaiian guitar was adapted by mainly one person very popularly known, 𝗓𝗡𝗓 of Allahabad, and he adapted this instrument into Hindustani music. Before this music instrument there were many stringed instruments adapted by many musicians, but this Hawaiian guitar was adapted by 𝗓𝗡𝗓 of Allahabad into the Hindustani classical music. And laterly Pandit Vishwamohan Bhatt modified this Hawaiian guitar and he named his own this Hawaiian guitar as Mohana Veena. Mohana is a raga and he adapted this Hawaiian guitar into his style, and he is a very popular known as Mohana Veena instrument. And as I said early in the discussion, there are lot of styles of singing and styles of playing in Hindustani music, because many gurus they use some more notations and some different kinds of alap and different kinds of Dhrupad singing in their compositions, and this creativity varies from one scholar to another scholar. The Gharana styles include Varanasi Gharana, Delhi Gharana, Gwalior Gharana and Khyal Gayaki. These are all the modern Gharanas. They were formed in creative aspects of Hindustani music. So till now you have known a lot of points about the Gharanas and the modern instruments of Hindustani music, which comes the creative aspects of Hindustani music. And moving to the next point, creative aspects of Hindustani also included the changing in Hindustani and Carnatic music combining, and they presented a good format of Jugalbandis. Pandit Bhimsen Joshi and Balamurali Krishna sir, they have presented Jugalbandis. For example, Vaatapi Ganapatim Bhaje, that is Vaatapi Ganapatim Bhaje. You all know very well this composition of Muthuswami Dikshitar in Carnatic style, and in the composition in Hindustani we have Lagi Laganapati Sakhi Sang Lagi Laganpati Sakhi. This is the first line of Lagi Laganpati Sakhi in Hindustani style. These both styles were combined together and they used to known as Jugalbandis. And also T.N. Seshagopalan sir and Ajay Chakravarti, they have presented many Carnatic and Hindustani formats combining together, and they were known as Jugalbandis in the concerts. So till now you have learnt a lot of points about the creative aspects of Hindustani music, that is Jugalbandis, lighter forms and classical forms of Hindustani music. In India, classical music is one of the oldest music traditions in the world, because it contained many ragas of 72 ragas and also lot of ragas derived from each raga in 72 ragas. So the Indian classical, that is Hindustani or Carnatic style, they both are known as the oldest music traditions in whole world. And traditions of music notations practiced from Vedic times itself, and different notation systems were existed in each period of history, both in Carnatic music and Hindustani music. Many music composers and musicologists, they have contributed a lot services to write these notations. Notations is nothing but a format given to a particular structure of swaras according to the swaras composed in Tala division and also the raga division into it, with some symbols of Tala for the composing. There are two popular notation systems in the method of writing notation. One is the old notation system and another one, the second one is modern notation system. The old notation system was modified and published by Subbarama Dikshitar. About this Subbarama Dikshitar, he hails from the family of musical trinity, the second person, that is Muthuswami Dikshitar. He composed a lot of kritis in Carnatic music style. Rarely compositions in Carnatic music style were composed by Muthuswami Dikshitar, and this Subbarama Dikshitar was the grandson of the family of Muthuswami Dikshitar, and he has contributed his services towards writing notation, and also He have collected many of the biographies, you can know it in the later points, and many biographies till his period, and also collected a lot of notations that were not published before. He collected all the compositions and published in the books. For instance, this is the composition he published in 19th century, and modern notation system that is named Sargam notation system in Hindustani music. And this Sargam notation system represents unified system to store Carnatic music in computer files. Before that, we used to learn all the compositions by looking into the book, and also we used to write the notations for new songs. But the Sargam music system represents unified system to store Carnatic music in the computer format. And Sangeeta Sampradaya Pradarshini, we have to know some points about this Sangeeta Sampradaya Pradarshini, because this Sangeeta Sampradaya Pradarshini was written by 𝗧𝗦𝗔𝗧 𝗚 and he was publishing this book. Why I am discussing this Sangeeta Sampradaya Pradarshini? Because this contains a lot of musical notations, that is from basics to varnas, and also lot of kritis composed by many music composers. And not only compositions, this book contains the biographies of 77 musicologists, that is from the period of very ancient music composers to the period of this 𝗧𝗦𝗔𝗧. All the 77 biographies were included in the Sangeeta Sampradaya Pradarshini book written by 𝗧𝗦𝗔𝗧. And not only the biographies, we can also observe the basic Geetas and Prabandhas and Ragamalikas. As I think you all must be knowing about Ragamalikas, the Pallavi comes in one raga and Charanam comes in one raga, and also Ragamalikas also contains some Swara Kalpanas and Swaras patterns that are known as Ragamalikas. So all these Geetas, Prabandhas, Ragamalikas and also other compositions were published in Sangeeta Sampradaya Pradarshini book. And this particularly this Sangeeta Sampradaya Pradarshini book also included early lessons of music, both theoretical and also practical aspects of elementary teachings. That is not only the practical, the music needs practice and also as well as theory aspects, because if you want to sing a composition, suppose for in Varna, if you are singing in Mohan Raga, you have to see the notation of the Mohan Raga, that is in which raga it is composed and what ragas it is contained along with the Mohan Raga. And if you are singing in the Aditala, for instance, Aditala has 1, 2, 3, 4 bars in it. For the 4 bars, how many swaras are you are including into it, it also considers. So all these, the research work about this practical and theory, all these parts are included of elementary teachings in the Sangeeta Sampradaya Pradarshini book by Sri 𝗧𝗦𝗔𝗧. And now let us go to method of writing notation points. Actually, the writing notation consists of Sahityam along with the Swara notation composed to Tala. If we want to understanding the meaning of this notation, the notation is nothing but the Swara and Sahitya format written in a particular schedule of Tala. That is the Sahityam along with Swara notation composed to Tala system is known as notation system in music. So, in Hindustani music, the notation written in North India, in Carnatic music, the notation written in South Indian format. The Hindustani music, as I discussed earlier, the ragas composed in Hindustani main ragas are 10 main ragas, that is called as Thaat system. And in Carnatic music style, we can find 72 main ragas that are called as Melakarta ragas. And these Melakarta ragas, we can find 36 Shuddha Madhyama raga and 36 Pratimadhyama raga, and also chakras 6 and 12. From 1 to 12 chakras, each chakra contains 6 ragas in it. So, in the way 12 chakras are there to combine the 72 Melakarta ragas. In that 72 Melakarta ragas, we can find 36 Shuddha Madhyama raga, and after the 37th, from the 37th raga, we can find Pratimadhyama ragas in Carnatic style. And as a part of method of writing notation, the music notation is a system to represent visually the division of tala and swaras in a composition. As I said in the early point, the notation denotes for visual presentation of tala and swaras in a composition. We can visually see the notation which is bounded to tala along with the swaras division into the tala system. And the music of instruments or vocal is also written in a format called notation. That is, when you want to sing or play on an instrument, particularly a composition, you have to written in a format called notation. If you write a notation and give it to all the musicians, so for instance, if you perform in a concert, when you are singing a kriti or a song or a bhajan or a varnam or tillana, if you are able to write notation for the song, it is very easy to supply that notation papers to all the instruments and they can easily follow your tune. Otherwise, you will be singing one thing and the instruments they used to play something, some other tune. This will not happen if you find a notation with you. So, please write the notation for every song, and not only for the examination purpose, for also the performances. So, the music of instruments or vocal is also you should write in a format called, that is called notation format. And a notation includes many kinds of symbol, because if you do not put any symbol on writing a notation page, you cannot identify what is the raga and what are the upper size swaras, what are the lower swaras, what are the octaves, and what are the divisions of tala and how many aksharas you are using to write a avartam in the tala. All these points comes under the notation using symbols. So, a notation includes many kinds of symbols to identify even gamakas. As I said, not only 𝗧. 𝗧 means sa, pa, sa. This is called 𝗧, and gamakas are also contains some shaking swaras and double swaras and a pace of swaras. These are all coming under the gamakas of the swaras. So, you have to write some symbols to identify gamakas, 𝗧s, and also the main important of this writing notation is division of tala. Mainly the notation was created by the composers to divide the tala division, because you can write the notation for alapana tanam, because that is not considered to tala, it does not have any tala in it. But when you write a song for a notation, you need some tala division. For this you must write notation for a song. And you can observe some Hindustani composition writing notation system. It contains a bar, single bar that divides lagu in Carnatic style, that is 4 bars, and again the second bar that is known as dhrutam in Carnatic style, that contains 2 beats, and another one some more bar after some lyrics to completion of one cycle or one avartam. As I said, many early composers, they have contributed services to write these notations, and the person Pingala, he was an Indian scholar and he used to different marks to understand the swarasthanas and talas. As I said, you have to write some symbols to identify ragas and talas. So, this Pingala, he used different marks, identification marks, to understand the swarasthanas of the raga and also the division of tala. And after this Pingala, laterly the Subbarama Dikshitar, as I discussed in the earlier page, Subbarama Dikshitar, he included all biographies in his book Sangeeta Sampradaya Pradarshini, and he has published this book in 1906 year. It was very useful to the beginners and also performers till now. And now let us enter into one more important point, that is method of writing notation. The modern notation includes, the first point is the modern notation, which includes the first one, notation symbols, and the second point is associated files. As you have to know some points of notation symbols, the comma, semicolon, all these symbols are put to identify the tala, and also for some gamakas and lower octaves and higher octaves you have some symbols. You will be knowing about that in the next page. And the second point is associated files. This system adopted by Western staff notation. Before this notation writing system, it was very lighter because they used to teach to the students but not in a notation format. But laterly in the development of aspect, the many music composers, they accepted and adopted this Western staff notation and they adopted that music into notation into the Indian music notation system writing. The writing notation to a composition includes a lot of points into it. A lot of points considered to write a notation are known as major factors, and they are mainly three major factors to write a notation either in South India, North India, and that are the first one is 𝗧, and the second one in the method of writing notation system is swara, and the third point in writing notation system, the point is tala. The 𝗧 means you have to fix some shruti, we called it as shruti, that is sa pa sa. According to this sa pa sa only you have to combine some compositions which are based on particular raga, and the raga is based on particular swaras combined in the Melakarta raga or Janya raga. So the first important to write the notation is we have to practice the 𝗧, what is the 𝗧 of the song or the alap or tanam and etc. formats. So when you write a notation, you have to first observe the point 𝗧, what is the sapasa and what is the 𝗧 notation, and the second one is swaras. After the 𝗧, you have to observe what are the swaras you are using for the mainly raga which is composed in the composition. So when you write a notation, you have to first observe the point is 𝗧, and then you have to go to the important points of swaras. So what are the swaras containing in the raga is known as raga name. So the third point which we use to write a notation is called tala. The tala is nothing but a rhythm pattern which we use to write the notation for a song or the composition. Mainly to write a notation, we have to know that what are the ragas in Carnatic and Hindustani music, because it is very important that when you write a notation, you should consider the swarasthanas of the raga by its only the Melakarta raga. For instance, if you take a Malahari raga, it is a very small raga. The arohana comes like this, arohana avarohana, sari ma pada sa, sada pa magari sa, sari ma pada sa. In the sari ma pada sa ascending order, you cannot have ga and ni. The ga and ni are the missing swaras in arohana, and in avarohana sada pa magari sa. What we observe in avarohana is ni swara is missing in the avarohana. So if you know the arohana avarohana correctly in the raga, that is in Malahari, so that you can write the notation that it doesn't have nishadam in the whole raga of Malahari. These all points you can observe when you know only the what are the swaras of raga, and then you can write into the notation. So this Malahari raga is the raga janyam of 15th Melakarta, that is Maya Malavagola in the Carnatic style. So how you can know the Maya Malavagola swaras? That is, you have a format to know the swarasthanas of Carnatic music ragas, 72 ragas, that is called Katapayadi Sutram, that you can learn it in the later period. So now for today, you have to know that Carnatic music notation is based on 72 Melakarta ragas. As I discussed many times that the Carnatic music style have 72 main ragas, and in that 72 Melakarta ragas, the first part 36 ragas are called as Shuddha-Madhyama ragas. All the ragas, that is either Sarigama Padanisa or Sanidapa Magarisa, are Shuddha-Madhyama ragas. So up to the 1 to 36 ragas, the number 1 to number 36 ragas contains only Shuddha-Madhyama. For instance, if you take Shankarabharanam, that is the 29th Melakarta of Carnatic music, in the Arohana comes like this, Sarigama Padanisa Sanidapa Magarisa this is called as Shuddha Madhyama raga, because the Ri, Ga, Da, Ni, all the swaras, it differs for each raga, but as a point of Madhyama, the Madhyama will not change in all the first 36 ragas. So this is 29th raga, that is Shankarabharanam, doesn't have Shuddha Madhyama, Pratimadhyama in it. It contains only Shuddha Madhyama. And for instance, one more raga I want to sing, that is Karahara Priya, and also Harikambhoji, and many more ragas containing Shuddha Madhyama. So now I want to show one more example of Shuddha Madhyama raga, that is Chalanata. Chalanata is the 36th Shuddha Madhyama raga of Carnatic style, that is also known as Nata ragam. Sari Gama Pada Ni Sa Sa Ni Pa Mari Sa. A famous composition is there. Mahaganapatim Manasa Smarami. In this, if you observe the notation, that is Swara Gama Pani Sani Papa Magamari Sa 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 Sari Gama Sari Gama. If you see in Ma, it contains only Shuddha Madhyama. It's for a only instance that all the ragas under the first 36 ragas contains only Shuddha Madhyama raga. It is very important to know for a musician about the swaras. That's why I was showing practically this system. And now entering into the another 36 Pratimadhyama ragas of this 72 Melakarta ragas. In the last part of that is from 37 to 72 number, all the ragas contains only Pratimadhyama in the Arohana and Avarohana. For example, there are many ragas, many popular ragas, that is Pantuvarali, Dharmavati, Hemavati, Shanmukha Priya, Simhendri Madhyamam, Mecha Kalyani, and there are lot of Pratimadhyama popular, very popular ragas which contains only Pratimadhyama ragas in the Arohana and Avarohana. So this is a very important point to discuss about writing notation, the first point. And moving to the next point, the Indian tradition of music notation is based on raga system. As we discussed in the early, raga is very important aspect of writing notation part in Indian music, because it is based on only ragas. Every composition is bounded to a particular raga, and a raga is based on the swaras. So the raga is based on ascending and descending order of the swaras in the particular mentioned raga. And before writing a notation, after knowing all the swaras, first you have to remember that the first important point for writing notation is you have to fix a sa before writing the notation, because all the swaras are derived from sa, from first sa to the ending sa, that is a sa pa sa. Within it, if you first fix sa, then you can know that there are some more swaras, sa ri ga ma pa da ni sa, or sa ri ga pa da sa, this is Mohana, sa ri ga pa ni sa, sa ni pa ga ri sa, this is Hamsadvani, sa ri ga pa da sa, sa ni da pa ma ga ri sa, this is Bilahari, sa ri ma pa ni sa, sa ni pa ma ri sa, this is Madhyamavati. So sa ri ma pa ni sa, sa ni pa da ni pa ma ri ga ri sa. This is Sri Ragam. We have Endaro Mahan Bhavala Kirtana in this Ragam. So there are a lot of infinite examples for the ragas combinations. So first let us know that for writing a notation, you have to fix a sa before writing the notation. So it will be very easy for you to identify the swaras if you write and fix sa first. And it is popularly known as a Shruti. If you put a Shruti box, if you switch on a Shruti box, sa pa sa swaras comes in it. You have to very keenly observe this sa pa sa. And the notation swara, as I said, the notation is nothing but the swaras combination into the tala. So when you write a notation in a book or in a page, first you have to know that you have to write the first line with swaras only, not sahitya. You have to mention the first line as swara in one line, and below that swara line you have to write the correct lyrics in the order. Moving to the next same point, to understand the writing notation system, you have to understand 5 size in music. Before writing the notation, you have to put some dots. If the octaves are low octaves, you have to put lower dots to the swaras, under the swaras. If it is singing in the high octaves, high size, you have to put a single dot on the upper size swaras. To know this what are the sthayis we use regularly are Mandara, Madhya and Tarasthai. These are the mainly 3 sthayis of Carnatic music style. The Madhya sthai is sa, pa, sa, and the Mandara sthai is sa, ni. After the base, all the swaras comes under the base are Mandara, and Tarasthai are sa, ri, ga, ma, pa, ma, ga, ri, sa. These are the H sthai swaras or Tarasthai. So you have to use regularly, we use the 3 sthais in Carnatic music style notation, that is Mandara, Madhya and Tarasthais. And writing notation for Mandara sthai swaras, how to identify the Mandara sthai swaras in the compositions. So there is a system, very free system to understand this is, you have to simply put a dot under the swaras which you write for the notation. So when you write a notation to represent Mandara sthai, you have to use a dot under the swara. The notation for Madhya sthai swaras, it does not require any dot because you have to start the writing from the Madhya sthai, so it does not need any dot in it. So if you write in Mandara sthai, if the swaras are coming below the sa, Madhya sthai षड्जमम, below the Mandara sthai षड्जमam, if any swaras are coming in the notation, you have to write a dot under the swaras. But in Madhya sthai, there is no need to put any dot in the notation. If you move to the Tarasthai, as I said, Tarasthai, the upper swaras, after the Madhya sthai swara where it ends pa, da, ni, sa, after sa, sa, ri, sa, sa, ri, ga, ri, sa, sa, ri, ma, ga, ri, sa, sa, ri, pa, ma, ga, ri, sa, ni, sa, ri, ga, ri, sa. All these examples I am just singing for you. So after the sa, from beginning to the sa, if you going in the upper sthai, you have to definitely put a dot on the top of swaras. So you have to put a dot on the top of the swaras to represent the Tarasthai swaras in the notation in the particular composition. So after the swaras identification, you have to go into the Tala bounding, because not only swaras, in Carnatic music style, the Tala system is also very widely used in writing notation. For a composition, it is very important to write a notation using only the Tala symbols. So the combination of Tala is as a beat, fingers, wave. Beat means if you put a Rupaka Tala or Adi Tala, 1, 2, 3, 4. The first beat or the fifth beat, whatever you use in Rupaka Tala or Triputa or Adi Tala, you put all the fingers together like this, 1. So that is called as 1 beat. And fingers. For instance, Adi Tala you use 3 fingers. For Triputa Tala you use only 2 fingers. For Jampe Tala you use many, 5 to 6 fingers. And in Atta Tala you use 1 beat and 4 fingers. In the many ways you are using the Tala. So it is the Tala is a combination of 1 beat along with fingers, counting of fingers which represents as the Tala. And wave. Wave is nothing but after the beat you put like the hand like this. You just turn this like this. So this wave we call it as a wave, and it is called dhrutam. When you put 1 beat and wave together, you will get a dhrutam format. So the Tala system contains 1 beat, fingers and wave in the Tala system. This is very important point to note down for the notation system in music, Carnatic, mainly music system. And very rarely common Talas which are divided into 3 angas, that is Lagu, Dhrutam and Anudhrutam. Lagu contains 1 beat plus a number of fingers, and Dhrutam contains 1 beat and wave, and Anudhrutam contains only a single beat. So it is very important that you have to write Lagu notation symbol, Dhrutam notation symbol and also Anudhrutam notation symbol when you write a composition into Tala. So as I explained the early point, Lagu is containing 1 beat and fingers, Dhrutam 1 beat and wave, Anudhrutam contains only 1 beat. So the Lagu differs in many ways, that is Jati. You know that there are 5 Jatis in Carnatic music style. Trisra Jati contains 1, 2, 3, 3 beats. Chaturasra Jati contains 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 beats. Khanda Jati contains 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 beats in it. And the next one is Mishra Jati, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 beats in it. And the last Jati of the Carnatic music style Tala is Sankirna Jati, that is 9 swaras or 9 beats in it, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You should not put any mark or symbol or any beat in between the fingers counting, because the Jati contains only to lagu. So the lagu is divided into the jatis, that is Trisra, Chaturashra, Khanda, Mishra and Sankirna. So all these jatis, when you combine along with lagu, it contains lagu symbols. So you have to mention that if it is a Trisra jati, you have to put 3, Chaturashra 4, Khanda 5, Mishra 7 and Sankirna 9. So for symbol of lagu, when you write a notation in the format, for the symbol of lagu, you use a vertical line, that is just it looks like a digit 1, but you should not write 1, just a single bar you have to put after completing one lagu. Either it is 1 beat plus 3 fingers or 1 beat plus number of fingers according to the tala. And moving to the next, symbol for dhrutam contains, dhrutam will not change in any tala, it contains 1 beat plus wave, and the symbol for dhrutam is a circle. And again some rupaka talas, if you take an instance 1, 2, 3, this is rupaka tala. In rupaka tala, before first beat when you put a tala, first beat only it has only a single beat, and how you write this anudrutam symbol is half circle. So half circle for one anudrutam, and these 2 beats are called as dhrutam, you have to put a mark 0. So if you observe like this, a vertical line is a symbol for lagu, a circle is a symbol for dhrutam, and a half circle is a symbol for anudrutam. And method of writing notations, there are some symbols for the music notation writing system. Comma represent one swara and semicolon represent 2 swaras. If you want to prolong a swara, that is in Telugu we called it as dirghaksharam. Dirghaksharam means sarigama papama papama pa, that contains dirgham. You have to prolong that. When you write a notation, you have to write a semicolon to represent 2 swaras. So comma is represented for 1 swara, semicolon is represented for 2 swaras, used to prolong space of swaras. And lagu indicates by jati, 5 jatis, Trisra, Chaturashra, Khanda, Mishra, Sankirna, and symbol is a vertical line, digit 1. And in method of writing notation, name of raga you have to write in left side, and tala you have to write in the right side, and name of the composer you have to write in between these 2. And after writing this left right raga name and tala name and composer's name, you have to mention that what are the swara sthanas to identify the raga swarupa, because it is very important when you are singing, you have to write all the swaras also containing into the raga. And name of the melakarta, because if it is Malahari raga, you have to mention that Maya Malavagoda raga is the parent raga or melakarta raga of this Malahari raga. So to identify the raga swarupa, you have to write the name of even melakarta raga in the notation system.